By now, everybody knows about the massive earthquakes that hit Venezuela. Thousands of people died, thousands of people injured, and thousands of people unaccounted for still today. What a lot of people don't know is during the earthquake, thousands of Venezuelans were gathered together in the streets in celebration of St. John's Day. It's a Roman Catholic holiday where they celebrate John the Baptist. Now, as a Christian, we know we're not supposed to worship anything or anybody except the Lord. And it looked like there was a lot of idolatry, a lot of idol worship going on at this festival. Some are asking, could this be God's judgment on the people? I don't know, and I'm definitely not one to speak for the Lord, but it is crazy that during this festival, they see one of the biggest, deadliest earthquakes that Venezuela's ever seen. And something strange happened a few days after the earthquake. The skies in Venezuela turned red, as you saw in the intro. So we're gonna check that out and see what that was about, but let's get into the festival. So this video's from a year ago. This is just talking about the festival and talking about the holiday in general.
The statue you see dates to the colonial era. It arrived to Ocumare when the Spanish conquistadors occupied these lands. When they would punish slaves, the enslaved people would express their discontent by banging drums and show their devotion to San Juan, which was imposed by the conquistadors. They had other beliefs. They showed devotion in other ways. But this saint was imposed to them. Today we celebrate it with pride, devotion, and faith.
You know, I don't understand Catholicism. I mean, the Bible clearly says, do not make any graven images of anything or anyone in heaven, right? And you could call it what you want, a figure, it's an idol, right? You can call it a statue, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, their argument would be that they don't worship these statues or, you know, figures, idols, whatever you want to call them, that they don't worship them. But, you know, when you see them, you know, lifting up the doll of St. John and everybody around celebrating, I mean, what else would you call that, right? That's crazy to me. I mean, that's crazy. Is that what they think Saint, you know, John looked like? Is that what they think John the Baptist looked like, right? It looks like Christopher Columbus. I mean, come on, man. Like, I don't get it. I don't know. I don't get it. And you know, they'll be carrying them, walking around, everybody trying to touch them, and it's just a weird thing. So we're gonna check out the actual day of the earthquake when this festival is actually taking place. That's a lot of people. I mean, they're so crammed up. You can't even move anywhere. It's crazy. Wow, that's wild. Everybody having a good time. This is wild. It's wild. I got another angle we'll check out. I have the volume turned down. With the music, it's real loud. It's one of the worst places you want to be during an earthquake, out in the streets with thousands of people around you. It's scary, man. I mean, to live through something like this, I mean, that's it's terrifying. I have another video. This is a 4-year-old video, but it's gonna show a little bit more of the festival and show a little bit more how they celebrate.
Esta fe inmensa que tengo por San Juan, se la estoy demostrando. No me da alegría en el pecho para decir lo alegre que estoy por su bautismo. Tengo medio metal en
That's creepy. A lot of these religions, I say religions, I mean, I guess they claim to be Catholic, but a lot of these different cultures who claim to be Catholic, they 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 worship these saints and just different figures in Christianity, and in reality they'll have a different deity behind that saint, a deity that's associated with that saint, and it goes back to an old African religion, right? And essentially, it's a form of witchcraft, is what they do. And I'm not too familiar with how they worship, or how they practice their religion, let's say, but I do know that. I do know a lot of people put these dolls up and candles, and in reality, they're worshiping a different deity behind it, right? But the face of it would be like, let's say, John the Baptist. But I mean, it's just crazy to me, these dolls, right? You always see these weird dolls like this that they'll have Jesus or John the Baptist or whatever saint, right? And I don't know, it's just crazy to me. Look how creepy it looks. And it's funny because these dolls are always like a white European or American looking doll, but that's supposed to be um, a Jew in the first century, right?
Fuera de la fe que tú le puedes tener, ¿verdad? Porque todo influye con la fe, pero fuera de la fe que tú le puedes tener es como algo mágico.
Mira, mira.
Got these altars set up. You saw that? You saw she knocked on the floor? What was that about? A lot of superstition. I mean, what is that? You could say that's not worship, but what else do you call that? There's definitely a lot of just superstition, a lot of idol worship. And I notice this a lot in Catholicism, especially in the Hispanic culture. You know, I grew up in an all Hispanic culture, and you know, you see a lot of that. If you've been around it, you know what I'm talking about. You see a lot of that, just that old familiar superstitious lifestyle where, you know, people think you can, you know, pretty much affect the spirit realm. Is witchcraft when you think about it. That's what it is. It's witchcraft. You know, when people try to, they can put an object in your car and believe this will happen to that person, or light these type of candles up for good luck or for money or for blessings. And you know, that's what it is. It's witchcraft. And I'm not going to say you don't see it in Protestant Christianity also. You know, you have a lot of Christians out there who, you know, they still read their horoscope. They'll say I'm this way because I'm a Cancer. If you're still living like that, you got to get out of that. You got to get out of that. If you're praying to saints and you're lighting these altars up, you know, to all these different people who aren't Christ, you need to get out of that. You need to stop that, right? Christ is the mediator to the Father. You know, Jesus says, the only way to the Father is through me. If you don't have the Son, then you don't have the Father. He never said, you know, in order to get to the Father, you need me. In order to get to me, you need Peter. He never said that, right? And we definitely don't need a pope as a mediator to Christ, right? Why would we need to go through a pope to get to Christ and then Christ to get to the Father? What was the whole purpose of Jesus coming, dying on the cross, you know, shedding his blood as an atonement for our sins? If we needed another mediator, you know, just something to think about. Here's a quick one. It's just going to show a different angle. This is not anything to do with the festival, but I thought it was just crazy, you know, how powerful this earthquake was. Look at the building in the background. It's gone. Wow. So if you haven't kept up with recent news on this, because this did happen, I think it's been about a week ago. I got a little news clip from, I think this was earlier today. Yeah, this was posted a couple hours ago. So we'll check this out. They're still, you know, picking up, cleaning up, and they're still finding bodies. It's just sad.
It's now been more than a week since twin earthquakes rocked northern Venezuela, and they're still pulling survivors from the rubble. You can see here international rescue teams carefully digging out a 43-year-old man who was trapped for 8 days. His wife says it's a miracle.
I didn't know if he was alive or dead, but when I realized he was alive, it was like a ray of light in the darkness.
But elsewhere, hope is beginning to fade as more bodies are discovered. First responders say they're looking and listening for indications of survivors, but they're starting to get inconsistent at this point.
We are doing this activity again to try to confirm our signals, but now we don't have any identification.
And the focus is slowly turning from rescue to recovery, and it will not be easy. Tens of thousands have been left homeless. Countless others are without the means to support themselves. The UN is scaling up massive aid to the region, but residents there say it might not be enough.
I don't know what it will be like. It's hard. My life is there. It's hard. I don't think I will be able to start again from scratch.
Meanwhile, the government is defending what critics have called a slow response to the quakes, claiming they're doing their best with limited resources.
The Civil Protection System and the Public Emergency System were immediately deployed. We did not wait 1, 2, or 3 days. We acted immediately.
The State Department is committing more than $300 million for aid for Venezuela. That number is expected to grow. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
And again, we do have an update on the numbers. This is according to Reuters. They are citing numbers released by the Venezuelan Information Ministry today, saying the death toll from those twin earthquakes in Venezuela has now risen to 3,342, and the number of people injured now at 16,470. They also say the number of people displaced from their homes has risen as well to about 17,000. And a lot of people working on those recovery efforts. And also,
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Man, it's sad in this a disaster on this scale. It's crazy. It's I mean, the size of this earthquake, how powerful it was, and how many people, how many lives it affected. It's crazy to think about. And when we read the Bible and we read that stuff like this is going to happen more and more, as time progresses, like I said, as we get closer to the coming of Christ, and every day we're getting closer, as we reach that point, we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more disasters, what the Bible calls birth pains, right? The earth is going to tremble. We're going to see a lot of crazy stuff going on, and it's to be expected, right? So a few days after the earthquake, that's when the skies lit up red. Some people are asking, could this be a sign from God, right? The Bible does say there will be signs in the sky. I think it says frightful signs. I mean, it could be frightful to some people to look up and see red skies like this. That's got to be wild to see. Crazy. I saw an explanation on this, that because of some type of dust and, the reflection of the sun, you get these red hues. But, God is sovereign over it all, right? God can use whatever. Science can explain it one way, but I mean, in the end, who rules everything. So,
And I would say God is showing up in so many different ways in this very difficult time. God is working. It's difficult to understand, but God is working. Here's another video. People are saying this is actually
that
happening
real?
in Caracas. It's insane. Is this signs of end
That
times?
looks
Is this
like
growing
AI.
pains?
That's
It
got to
could
be
be.
AI.
But here's a story of this.
Let's go to that verse in Luke. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 11. And there will be great earthquakes in various places, famines and pestilence, and there will be fearful sights and great signs from the heavens. I mean, when are we going to take it serious? We got to take our walk serious. I always say this, and I'm not, like I always say, I'm not just telling y'all, I'm telling myself. You look around, you see these earthquakes, these disasters. We had wildfires in, I believe, Utah that were just burning and burning. You have all these, massive hurricanes and tsunamis. And one can say stuff like this has always happened, which it has. It has always happened. But when you add the consistency of how fast these disasters are happening, and then you add that to all the other stuff that's going on, right? The UFO stuff, the alien stuff, right? You add that to, I mean, just everything that's going on around the world. You got to see that it's leading up to something. You got to see that all these events are taking place. everything's just snowballing. It's just, it's like ever since COVID, it was just one thing after another, right? Nothing surprises us anymore. It's just one crazy event after another one. And you got to see that this is leading up to something. And I believe it is. I believe it's leading up to the return of Christ. So, this was a tragedy. We should pray for these people, right? We should pray for the families that lost loved ones. And, we got to take it serious, but we shouldn't fear. I'm not putting this video out to put fear in you. It's more of a just a call to be ready, right? To examine ourselves, to look around and say, am I ready? Am I ready if Christ came tonight? If Christ came tomorrow? Am I ready? Is my family ready? Is my brother ready? Is my sisters ready? Maybe it's time to reach out to those loved ones who maybe fell away from Christ, or who maybe never really stepped in and fully committed to God and got saved. Now would be the time to reach out, not tomorrow, not next week. Don't wait a week from now to go and talk to your father or your mother about God. Now is the time to reach out to those people, right? And now's the time for us to, like I said, examine ourselves and be ready. We got to get right with God, because the time is coming. I mean, if you look around, if you're a Christian and you're plugged in, then you know what's going on. You look around and you see all this, and we make sense of it. We really do. If you're looking around and this brings fear to you, or you can't make sense of all this, you don't understand why all this is happening, my prayer for you is that you get saved, you get close to God. Maybe you are saved, maybe you're a new Christian. Read the Bible and build that relationship with God. Have that confidence, that knowing that you're saved, right? Knowing that all this is gonna happen, but God is in control. Even though sometimes it may not look like it, sometimes you may hit you may go through some suffering in life, but trust me when I say this, God is definitely working. And you know what? I would say working harder through those times. You might not see it, but it'll make sense later. So that's my prayer for y'all. Let me know what you guys thought about the video. Have you been keeping up with all this or not? I think I'm a little late, on this earthquake, but it's just something that's been developing over time, and I just wanted to touch on it. So please keep me in your prayers. I'll be praying for y'all. I love y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out.